Okay, good evening, everybody. So today we're going to be using the quadratic formula. We learned a way to remember it today in class, and hopefully you guys are coming up with your own ways to remember it. But it certainly is a formula that is memorable if you can attach it to some sort of song. All right. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to write down my quadratic formula, and here it is. It was x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all of that divided by 2a. Okay, so then what I need to do is I need to identify where a, b, and c are in my original equation. So a is here, b is here, and c is here, just like we had before. Ax squared plus bx plus c. So a is the first term, b is the second, c is the third. Then I'm going to plug them into my quadratic. So I have negative b, which is going to be negative 2, plus or minus the square root, and then b squared, so that's going to be 2 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 4, all of that divided by 2 times 3, which is a. Okay, now here's my suggestion, is that when we do this, we want to do this part first. Okay, let's do this first. We're going to calculate what that equals first. So I'm going to go ahead and do that next. And I'm just going to skip everything else, and I'm going to go straight to my square root. So 2 squared is 4, minus 4 times 3 is negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. And negative 12 times 4 is positive 48. So then this is equal to 52. Okay, so that's 52. And now I can go ahead and write in the rest of it. So I have equals negative 2 plus or minus, and then the square root of 6, over 6. All right, so at this point, what I want to do is I want to do the square root symbol. So I don't know what 52 is, so I'm going to estimate it, and estimating it is fine for these. So we're going to have negative 2 plus or minus, this about the square root of 7 is about 7.2, something like that, all divided by 6. And then, at this point, I'm going to split this into two problems. You guys should keep going down your page. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to go to the side, but you guys should keep going down your page. So one of my problems is going to be negative 2 plus 7.2 over 6.
Cortez, please report to Ms. Mueschler's room.
And the other one
to Ms. Mueschler's room.
is going to be negative 2 minus 7.2 over 6. And then you calculate those two things out, and they will give you your final answers. So negative 2 plus 7 gives me 5.2 over 6. So this one is going to be, one of my x is going to be equal, x will be equal to 5.2 over 6, and then you can divide that out, is fine. And the other one is going to be negative 9.2 over 6. And then again, divide those out, whatever those decimals would be. Okay, so those are our answers for this quadratic formula. X is equal to 5.2 divided by 6 and negative 9.2 divided by 6. Now I'll take a look at the next slide. It's the same type problem. We're still going to start with a quadratic. So I have x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. And a lot of times I get questions, do we have to write it out? What do you think the answer to that question is? Of course you do. Okay, so there's my a, b, and c. And of course my a this time is a positive 1. So make sure that you're keeping track of that. It's a positive 1 in there. Now you'll see I'll do this one a little bit differently. I'm not going to write any of this stuff down. I'm not going to write that or that down. I'm only going to go to this because I mentioned on the very first problem, I always do my square root symbol first. So I'm just going to go straight to my square root symbol and see what that is. So here I get 7 squared, and the reason I do this is because it's going to make it a little bit shorter, a little bit faster, a little bit easier for me. So I'm going to, it's not a shortcut, but it does possibly make things a little bit easier for me. So 7 squared, oh man, that's not look like a 7. There we go, that's better. minus 4 times 1, which is my A, times 12.
Tucker. Oh, Tucker Smith. Please come to the front office.
And I hope you guys enjoyed that. 49 minus 48, the square root of. And so that's the square root of 1. And I know the square root of 1. The square root of 1 is equal to 1. So now I can go back and I can plug in everything else. So I get, this is equal to negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 1, which is 1, all divided by 2 times 1. So then this is equal to negative 7 plus 1 divided by 2. And it's also equal to negative 7 minus 1 divided by 2. So then this is negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6 divided by 2. So that x is equal to negative 3. Here it's negative 8 divided by 2, which x then would be equal to negative 4. So x is equal to negative 3 and negative 4. Okay, and we have one more slide. Here we go, and again I'm going to start with my quadratic. So it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. For your listening pleasure there. Alright, so there we go. So again, I'm going to start with my quadratic, or with my square root. So actually, before I do that, I'm going to mark my a, b, and c. There's a, b, and c. And now I'm going to do my square root symbol. So my square root looks like this. My b is 1 squared minus 4 times my a is 3. And my c is 10. So I get the square root of 1 minus, that's 12 times 10, 120. So I get the square root of negative 119. And what we should be noticing right now is that it is impossible for us to take the square root of a negative number. Since I cannot take the square root of a negative number, then I say it is no solution. And that's why I always start with my square root symbol.
Cole Chadwick, please go to the library now. Cole Chadwick, go to the library now.
So I start with my square roots. And by the way, Cole Chadwick, if you're listening to my video at like 10 o'clock at night, please don't go to the library. That's for right after school. Okay, so I always start with my square root symbol. If I end up with a negative number inside my square root symbol, I can't take the square root of a negative number. There's no solution, so I can stop right there. That's why I always start with this. That way I don't have to waste my time with the negative b and the 2a. Okay, that's it for tonight, and hopefully you got these notes down, and we will be able to do tons of practice tomorrow. All right, bye-bye.